Gurudev, the Kashmir files about the Kashmiri Pandits' exodus is trending in India. The events depicted are painful to watch. One side says these events are important for future generations to remember, while others feel there is no point in fueling past hatred. Can you talk a little about the Kashmiri Pandits and how one should view their unfortunate exodus?
Yeah, I visited Kashmir in late 90s, and I saw the condition of the Pandits. It was heartbreaking. People who had very good professions, who had great business, they were all in 10 by 5 rooms, 7, 8 people in small place. I think even the roadside workers, when they live in those sort of tents, they would have lived in a better condition than the Pandits who were living in the outskirts of Jammu, in Delhi, all these places. So then we said, and the kids, they were such wonderful, tiny, young, beautiful kids. So we offered to take them. We brought nearly 125 of those kids from Jammu and other places where they were. And they came to Bangalore, here in Bangalore, Rajasthan. They were here for 15, 16 years. From schooling to, they become graduates, then they got jobs, now they're all settled. They all went back. So late 90s to early 2010 or so, they were all here. For nearly 15 years, 20 years, something like that. And such a big transformation in their life. And we did bring this attention. See, unless you know where is the problem, you can never resolve it or never cure it. You should know where the disease is. Knowing the disease is necessary. But you should not scratch the wound too much. You should know there is a wound. Then you can put medicine on it. You can put Band-Aid. But if you keep denying that there is any wound, that is a problem. So it's easy for people to go either of the extremes. One is you deny there is any wound. This is what people have been doing for a long time. They denied that any such thing happened. On the other side, it's a very delicate thing how you plaster the wound, how you put the bandage around that instead of creating hatred. Hatred should not be created at any cost. It's not good for the present generation. With any community, hatred is absolutely to be done away with. Because it not only destroys the other community, it also destroys oneself. Hatred is like a cancer which will eat you up. So we must see that awareness is created so past mistakes don't repeat. At the same time, we don't hate anybody, or any community or anybody. We need to heal the wounds, bridge the gaps, and be aware of these big blunders that our politicians have been doing. I used to talk to different groups. The lawyers would come and tell me, Gurudev, you know what has happened here? There is a delimitation. The delimitation was bought, and in the Kashmir Valley, just for 15,000 people, there will be one representative, one MLA. But whereas in Jammu, you have to have 1,15,000, 150,000 for one representative. I mean, there are a number of injustice done in the Kashmir with 370 and all that. Thank God the 370 is gone. Now women's have rights. Women were suffering. Kashmiri women were hard hit. And the Dalits there in Kashmir had really no human rights. Though they lived there for so long, they never could become subject of that state. I mean, they were deprived of basic human rights. And I'm glad that that state has removed all these discriminatory laws. Those discriminatory laws, because people didn't know, they were given such false opinion, saying this is the law, otherwise the India will eat you up or rest of the India will do this and that. You know, they were not even aware what they were into. That is the worst thing the politicians do. They try to keep people divided in the name of caste, community, religion, gender, or all this stuff. They keep them divided so that they can easily get votes and they can rule over them. I'm glad that 370 is gone. Women have their rights. Can you imagine a woman who is married to someone outside the state would lose everything of her property in Jammu and Kashmir? I have known many women who are married to somebody in Bihar, and this lady's the husband passed away. On the other hand, the lady's father passed away, but father's inherited property she could not get because she was married to somebody outside the state. And we had so many programs in Kashmir. Even in those days, one of the army officer's wife, little children, she was on one of these evenings like this walking with her husband and children, and he was shot dead by one of the political leaders there. And he was scot-free. He was moving around. And then when he was in jail, look at this incident. This lady became an art of living teacher. She did art of living. She got such solace. She became an art of living teacher. And then she went to the prison and taught the course to the same people who killed her husband. And she told him, look, what you did, now I forgive you. I mean, that was the moment. It was a very, very touching moment for that man, also for her. And the person, she could forgive him in the prison and taught him the course. And he became a changed person. Realized his mistake. And every life has its own story in their colors. And that's why I say, to see life beyond all this. Beyond the appearance, there is something much, much, much deeper, much beautiful, much elevating, and we should have our attention there.